Welcome to episode 6 of my podcast. And also, this is the second time I've decided to co-record my podcast episodes on YouTube as well. That's it. So as promised on last episode, I am actually going to talk to you guys about the magic of storytelling. I love telling people stories. And ever since I was a little child, my mom used to tell me stories after stories. But today what I want to talk about is the positive side of storytelling, but also negative side of storytelling. Okay? So are we ready? So for those of you who think to go, well, art stories for kids, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you love watching movies or reality TV shows? Yes. And quite often happen to people is when we're watching it, believe it or not, our brain actually goes into this imaginary fantasy land as if we're living their life. How many guys watch the superhero movies and coming out of movies, yes, just think, yeah, I'm invincible, right? Or how many girls watch, romantic comedies, just think, oh my God, you know, I think I just relived the life of the girl that's in that romantic comedy. It happens to every one of us. Let's just admit it, right? That's just what happens because our brain loves to live in stories. Our brain loves stories, loves to listen to stories, loves to imagine ourselves living in stories. And believe it or not, it's actually the best way for us to learn. If you think about all the ancient histories and ancient civilizations, basically, that's how information and knowledge used to get passed down through storytelling. And that's why kids' stories are invented. That's why all those, fairy tales are invented to teach or to pass down information, which really brings me down to, there are good stories. Sorry, I just touched my earphones in case you hear clicking sound. There are good storytelling and there are bad storytelling. And I am a big believer that fairy tales are very bad storytelling. If you have noticed, like Disney and Pixar these days, they tend to steer away from your classical stories or fairy tales like the princesses and the prince, how the princess meet, a prince one day and fall in love and live happily ever after, because in reality, that is not true. In fact, I believe that's what's creating a lot of what we call the princess syndrome. A lot of the girls just think, oh, I'm going to be rescued by my prince on a white horse and I don't have to do anything. We'll live happily ever after. So those are what I call bad storytelling, where you're inserting unnecessary and unreal expectations into people thinking that's just how life is. Especially imagine when you were younger, like, between the age of 0 to 7, where our brain is just like the sponge that absorbs any and every information in our brain. What sort of programming is that inserting into our head when it comes to marriage and relationships, right? Believe me, I was a victim of fairy tales where I just believe, guys should do everything for me. And, when we get married, I'll be taken care of. And I had to learn it the hard way to actually learn, no, as a girl or as any person, we are our own individuals and it is our responsibility to what? To create our own life, to create our own dreams. Just because you get married doesn't mean all of a sudden you are the other person's responsibility or the other person is responsible for your happiness. It just doesn't happen that way. We, as a individual, it is our own responsibility to create our own happiness. And even when you're in a relationship, I love using this metaphor. So quite often, they live happily ever after and they become this family unit. I met my other half, so we become one. That's what I call an A-type, I'm trying to spell the word, A-type relationship. You can think about A as a trestle. What happens when two people are leaning on each other? So it's a lean-on type relationship. And if one person falls, the other's going to fall with them. In those relationships, quite often the relationship is interdependent. And that's not what we want. What we want is what I call an H relationship. Just imagine that's my arm and then that's the bar between H. You are independent, but you're holding hand in the middle in unity because 1 + 1 = 2 and you become stronger that way. You have your own individual dreams to achieve, but you also have your united dreams. So for Scott and I have a dream to help people find their passion or rediscover what I call their secret desires, their mission in life, and help them achieve them. Not necessarily through the traditional pushy punchy way, but through a very sort of intuitive and more feminine way. Where Scott is complete opposite. He is so aspired to help men find their masculine power within. Now, this is what real masculinity is not about, punching people in the face and violence, and really build men up. So if you look at it this way, we've got very different goals. I'm more about empowering women, and he is more about empowering men. And I'm more about helping people get out of depression, anxiety, especially guys in construction, to achieve what they want. And he is just about getting people in the right headspace and build up so they have the right body, physique, energy, mindset to achieve what they want, and only guys. So you could say, we are quite different. And if we both think about relationship as the fairy tales, then guess what? We probably will never come together, but we have a united goal, and that is to form a family and educate our kids on a country farm and build this amazing dream of helping humankind. That's our highest vision. So I've got my goals with my two kind of clients, guys in construction and female in construction. And Scott has got his focus on men, just building men up. That is great because on our own, we are unique individuals who both have a set of values and we're passionate about what we do. But together, we also have a more united goal to build. This is things that doesn't show in fairy tale, and I can go on about this all day because I'm actually very passionate about it. But it is not to say that all stories are evil. And what I want you guys to be mindful of is there are good stories out there. Stories about encouraging people, that about different kind of mindset. One of my favorite stories that I quite often use is about two frogs. There were two frogs who loved drinking milk. They came across a farm one day, jumped into a bucket, start drinking milk. After they feeling full and they're like, oh, I can't drink any more milk. Of course, the bucket isn't as full and they can't jump out of the bucket anymore. So frog number one decided, well, I'm just going to give up and drown myself and die. So he did. He just went, drowned himself and he died. Frog number two is like, well, surely life can't be just like this. So you keep paddling, trying to find a way. And of course, when you keep churning your milk, what happens? It turned into butter, which is solid. And then he was able to jump out of the bucket once the whole bucket of milk turned into solid and out of his merry way. So this is an example of a great story that you can tell your kids to show, hey, when there is a will, there's a way, right? When it seems the whole world is against you, you just need to calm down and think about, surely there is a way. Simple but straightforward, convey a positive message. And every time your kids face adversity, you're going to remember that story. How great is that? But what I also want to say to you is, as parents, you have your own stories too. You can easily tell your own stories when you're little, whether it's a negative lesson learned, like, when you went and robbed the shop or stole, lollies from from the local grocery store and got caught, and you learned, actually that's not, there's better ways, and the shop owner actually gave you a job, so you started working there. Things like that. It doesn't have to always be like I'm the hero of the story. It's like I quite often tell people the story about when I lost $12,000 through a credit card fraudulent thing where someone would pretend to be a client of mine. It's a very sad story because I, for a very long time, lived on canned chickpeas and tuna at the end of the month and waiting for my pay to get through. But at the same time, the lessons learned were that I actually need to be more careful with my business activities, check my client out, follow my gut. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Ask more questions, all those sort of things, right? So you can actually turn real life stories into lessons too. And there's this lovely thing that someone once told me that I just love and adore. It's called, that it's a saying from Marie Forleo. Someone told me in passing, and it's how I first came across them. But each and every one of us has got a story that only we can tell, because our life on this planet is a unique gift, and our experience is a unique experience. So do not think that you cannot tell stories. Do not think who gives you the right to tell all these stories, right? I do believe that we all have stories to tell, and we all have messages to pass on. So if you're one of those people that thinks, oh, I don't have anything interesting in my life, well, actually you do. Your life experience, your learnings, whether it's positive or negative, are your story. And that's what I really want to encourage you to do, to really believe in your own learnings and really look at, all those learnings that you do. A saying that I love. I love sayings, as you can see. So this is a quote that I love and go by each day, and that is, "The wounds become your superpower." Really, for me, if you look at me growing up, and I've written this in my book, is that I lack confidence. I was a people pleaser that believed if I could make everyone else happy, then my life would be happy. And look at the lessons and things that I have to learn in order to find myself. And really, now I am a believer that, in order to create anything and everything you want, it all comes from here. It all comes from your heart. Unless you can truly build that amazing relationship with yourself, believe in yourself, support yourself, and really heal all your wounds and hurts and those things, that's limiting you, unless you can do the work within, you can't get through to all the things that you want to achieve on the outside. So if you're looking at the way that we built our life, or I built my life at least, it's always from what I call the foundation. It's about self, right? It's understanding yourself, building the best relationship with yourself, self-assurance, self-belief, self-love. Then once you've got that, you understand yourself enough, you can go up to the next level and look at your limiting beliefs, look at your negative emotions, get those sorted. Then you could then get to what you really want to achieve in life, like your career, your emotions, your wealth. Because everything goes from the bottom up, right? When we build a house, we build from the foundation up. And in order to achieve that amazing life, to build this building, build this legacy that you wanted, I call my life basically my temple of life. So to build this success, build this whole thing, you need to go from the bottom up. And so what I really want to encourage you guys to do is to look at all the lessons learned. This is a follow-on from the previous episode of my podcast. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. I'll put the link below for your reference. Go back and watch that, and really look back on all the lessons learned, because they are clues to what you're really here to do. If you're looking for, that end goal, you're looking for your purpose in life, those are the clues of what your purpose is. And that's how I discovered my own purpose, right? And I'm so passionate about sharing this with people, and that is, to me, the foundation of building the life that you wanted and true happiness. Because true happiness doesn't come from these top levels, like the things that you see externally. True happiness comes from within. And only when you can fully understand yourself and build that relationship with yourself. I'm not to say it's all warm and rosy though. There's a lot of dark stuff, like what we call, each one of us has dualities. We have light and we have dark. So unless you can accept your duality, unless you can accept the good and the bad and ugly, you haven't fully accepted yourself. It's like me. I used to be really conscious of my tummy because I carry a lot of weight or fat around my tummy. And it wasn't until I can fully accept that and understand that there's a reason why I am shaped this way. There's a reason why I'm this way. I could not love myself fully from a place of compassion. And that's what we all have to learn to do. And I believe that's our biggest homework in this lifetime. So if you want to find out more though, there's a couple courses coming up that I am running online. The first one is if you're interested in telling people about your story, I'm actually running an online free training. It's a 3-part training online about the 3 keys, how everyone can actually, you can all publish a book. So my 3 top secrets on how you can get over procrastination and really publish your first book with ease and flow in 2020, because I believe we all have a story to tell. And then coming up in March and April and May, I've got a series of workshops coming up on how you can build better foundations in your career, life in general, and also in your health as well. So I'll be running a couple of really interesting workshops with a career one. We're actually going to take you through a 90-day challenge to supercharge and revamp your career. With the overall one, I will be talking about exactly what I just spoke to you guys about the 3 different layers of life and how you have to work on the foundation first, then we'll work on the mid-level, then you can finally work on the pretty stuff up the top. It's a concept I've created myself. It's a very new concept. Basically came to me, or, I just woke up one morning, decided, I was like, oh, hey, hold on a second. That's exactly what I have gone through in the past 5 years. So it's something very new to me, but also something that I have done myself. It's essentially a combination of all those things I've done in the past 5 years put together. So I'm very excited about sharing this new learning and information with you guys. And then I'm also going to run a health workshop. I'm not a health expert myself, but teaching you how you can actually eat healthily with very minimal effort. And also disguise some of the not so yummy food like veggies into your everyday food, so your kids will love your cooking too with minimal effort. So it's all about how we can give, how we can live effectively, but in a way that benefits our body, our system. So you can get on with the more interesting things that you love in life. So if you are interested in any of these, please, please, please jump onto either my LinkedIn profile or my Facebook page, where I'll be sharing this information, and any upcoming courses will also be published on my website as well. So I hope you find this episode useful. As usual, please subscribe either to my YouTube channel or to my podcast on the various podcasting platforms. We're on, I think it's called Apple Podcast, or if you own an iPhone, it's on that podcast platform. Also on Google Podcasts and also Spotify as well. So any major platforms we are on. Or feel free to jump onto my website and read the latest blog as well. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.